With the war in the Middle East going on, is Philippine motorsport in danger of being shut down? It might just be at an inflection point right now. We may see motorsport being suspended, or at least that's what I think. Looking at current trends, I think that our beloved sport might be in the chopping block pretty soon. Hi, my name is John Calam, and let me take you through my analysis on what is going on. Let us also go look back in the past to tell you what the future may hold with regards to the fuel crisis and Philippine motorsport. So, stay tuned for that. There are a lot of motorsport events that happened this past week, and one of which I actually attended last Saturday. I was at the Rally Dev Track Day where I took out one of the project cars to try it out in a rallycross style event. And there was also the R33 Motorsport Festival at San Simon, Pampanga. So in that particular locale, there were a lot of motorsport events that I was aware of, and it's great that motorsports is still able to thrive, and it has been thriving ever since after the pandemic. There are a lot of events now. Motorsports has come back. However, we are faced with the fuel crisis that's happening due to instability in the Middle East. I'm not going to go dwell on the reasons why. That's not my place. My place is only to comment on motorsport in the Philippines. So there's this thing going on as of this recording that there is a fuel price shock. We have been used to filling up our tanks with 50 peso in my local, 50 peso, 52 peso fuel, gasoline, diesel. This past week, prices have been going up and up and up every day. So with that backdrop, with fuel possibly being in short supply, with the government already rationing people's work weeks, certain government and even some private institutions have already instituted work from home, a compressed work week of 4 days, ostensibly to reduce the need for transportation fuel use. Okay, so with that backdrop, having motorsport events during the past weekend may not be that sensitive. And even for me, as a motorsports fanatic, participant, whatever you can call me, that may not be the best outlook. And not a lot of people would understand. There are people like me participating in motorsport events probably perceived to be wasting fuel, right? For enjoyment, not necessarily for essential travel. As of this recording, the government has already instituted strict energy conservation measures through an executive order amidst the geopolitical tensions that is still ongoing up till today. This is not routine. This is not business as usual. This is a crisis situation. And thankfully, the government is already doing something about it through policy. And it is very clear through this action, the government is already taking a whole of government approach. Given that scenario, it may be clear that motorsport, the sport that we love, the sport that we are in, and the sport that we continue to talk about in this YouTube channel is at a crisis. The looming restrictions of us being unable to play and practice our pastime, our sport, is very imminent. And why do I say that? Because number one, policies have been enacted. EO 110 has recently been released, like what I mentioned. And actually, most important, there is historical precedent because in the 70s, the first Marcos administration already issued an edict restricting or actually totally banning motorsport activities in the Philippines. This is through Batasang Pambansa number 33. The Batasang Pambansa laws that I most know about is actually BP 22, the bouncing check law. But BP 33 is a law that us motorsport enthusiasts in the Philippines must be knowledgeable about because it is the explicit rule specifically prohibiting motorsport activities to happen because during that time there was also a fuel shortage crisis due to, again, the same geopolitical tensions that's happening in that area. So again, history sorts of repeats or rhymes. And the second Marcos administration is also facing the same problem. And this is a paradox that we have with our industry, with our sport, with our passion. Motorsport is small, is a niche sport. However, motorsport is the sport of the motoring industry. And the motoring industry is a very big part of the Philippine economy. Mobility is an essential service, an essential need for every member of humanity, and most especially in an archipelagic country like we are in right now. Motorsport is also a source of livelihood for a lot of people: mechanics, tuners, race preparation shops, event organizers, and also it is also a vehicle for people to market their goods and services to the general motoring public. And also for communities that host motorsport events, this is also a sort of a lifeblood for them, also for their local economies to flourish. It also contributes to human capital development because we are training in motorsport the next generation of mechanics. Mechanics are trained in a difficult battleground where speed is essential, and cars have to be reliable enough to complete the race and, of course, win. Given the importance of motorsport, given also how people are attracted to the thrill of speed, with the advent of this Netflix show called Drive to Survive, there's also a story entertainment element that people are realizing more and more. And therefore, motorsport is something that is also a social cultural touch point by many people, even though they are not necessarily participating in the sport, but they are in the periphery watching and being entertained by it. And yet at the same time, its visibility is also a problem because it also attracts the negative perception that people may have, especially in this era of high fuel pricing and era of supply shortage of petroleum fuels. Of course, there are laws already, EO 110 recently released, and the previous BP 33, that government can use as an reason, a justification for Philippine motorsports to be restricted or outright outlawed. In typical Philippine politics, being performative and populist is the important decision consideration that a lot of our politicians, technocrats, people in the bureaucracy have, because motorsports is a low hanging fruit. It's highly visible, even though it does not consume a heck of a lot of fuels or a lot of energy and mobility as compared to other industries and other activities. In aggregate, it is low hanging fruit for people to show that if they ban this, at least they can be seen that they're doing something about the fuel crisis. So that's the risk of being populist, listening to popular opinion, or thinking that is the popular opinion, even though that might not be the correct or optimal decision for our leaders that govern us. That is really the worst case scenario, that motorsports will be banned, but it could also not necessarily reach that phase. We could already anticipate various futures. We could do a little bit of futures thinking in this scenario. We could assume that the status quo is not tenable because even the community that I'm part of is already realizing that it may not necessarily be economically prudent to participate in motorsport due to the fuel, cost of fuel. And fuel for the grassroots racer like myself and a lot of my other friends is a major part of the cost equation when you compete in motorsport events, not necessarily in the event itself. Actually, using fuel in the event, the actual racing activity, is a small part. The traveling is actually a major calculus on the fuel, because motorsport events are not necessarily held near everyone's residences. It's sometimes in far-flung areas requiring 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours of travel, or for some other people, even more hours of travel, even crossing islands, flying in order to participate in racing events. everyone realizes that the fuel pricing situation that's going on is may not necessarily be economically feasible if fuel prices jump up even higher. Probably at this paradigm of 100, peso per liter, maybe people can still shoulder it, still stomach it. But what if fuel becomes 200 a liter? You would probably just focus on your mobility for your essential needs instead of traveling hours uh, and several hundred kilometers just to participate in a motorsport event. So to anticipate certain futures, it may just be that there would be a perception issue that would limit not only participation, but also limit support from corporate sponsors, would also limit support from the local government units. Because the local government units, even though they don't necessarily organize races, even though they don't necessarily allow people to race in public roads, they don't necessarily close public roads for motorsport, they are sometimes requested by event organizers to provide emergency services on standby in case something happens in a motorsport event. It may come to a point that the LGUs may not find it politically acceptable to support even in such a small way such as that. The organizers of motorsport events might find it even more and more difficult to justify or even continue hosting events. And this is actually more impactful on the bigger scale local events that we have here, like the Vios Cup, the endurance races, and other touring car races that we have here available locally. But the grassroots level, drag racing, maybe not, autocross, maybe not, slalom, maybe not. Drifting might be very much impacted because that's a very showy, you literally are able to see the wasted tire smoke billowing out of the tires as they skid across the concrete pad or the concrete racetrack. So that's even more going to be impacted in this issue. So to reiterate, there are economic factors that will hamper motorsport, but the people who participate have some money and their demand is probably inflexible for motorsport activity, so they'll probably just continue to spend. So it would only dissuade some people, but really the hardcore people will still continue participating. But we cannot discount the economic aspect. But I think the most important aspect is really governance and the sociocultural aspect or societal pressures and regulatory pressures that would really not make motorsport possible or would really restrict motorsport activities in the Philippines. So how do I see it? If, example, the war, people at war right now in the Middle East decide to stop throwing bombs at each other, for example, if they do that today, it will take some time for things to normalize, but at least that would be a breath of fresh air. It's not only Philippines, it will be a worldwide gush of happiness. But if this drags on, and as of this recording, it kind of seems that it will drag on for quite a while because there is an existential threat to one of the parties, Iran, that they have to keep on fighting, otherwise they're really going to disappear in a sense, or at least that's their fear. So it might not resolve as fast as we would want. We have to work with the current paradigm. I would like to suggest to various stakeholders in the motoring and motorsport space certain options on what you could consider doing in order to protect our sport. For the competitor, okay, motorsport participants, the cost is going to increase for you. Other factors, like what I mentioned earlier, may reduce the number of events available for us to participate in. We should also recognize that we should play a part as citizens of the Philippines to be also mindful of our energy uses. So therefore, perhaps we may think of reducing our actual testing and probably practice using the simulator. Simulators are cheap nowadays and require less fuel, less effort. The local racetracks have a virtual equivalent now through Assetto Corsa mod that you could download from somewhere. For the event organizers, I would really consider promoting the use of alternative, sustainable, agricultural, or biologically derived energy sources for propulsion. If our visibility is the biggest risk for our industry, then we could use our visibility to its greatest advantage by advocating new technologies that can especially be sourced or be produced in the present or in the near future in the Philippine territory. And so I think motorsport organizers should, in the near term, promote the use of, let's say, next generation or new energy vehicles such as electric vehicles, and also advocate the use of alternative fuels. I may suggest looking at bioethanol that's already being produced, biodiesel, which is already being produced, and yet these fuels are not sufficient enough in local production to feed all local requirements. I would also like to advocate that motorsport explores butanol or biobutanol in the use of gasoline race cars, something that the Philippines can focus on an industrial scale. Its compatibility, as far as it being a fuel for gasoline engines, it's almost a straight drop in. And I think its production can be sustained via indigenously sourced agricultural or biological raw materials. So that's actually a fuel that I am currently studying as a current student pursuing my doctorate degree. If you guys are interested to look at it further, you could do your own research. You can also talk to me. Mazda actually in Japan is already looking at butanol as a fuel source for gasoline engines. Again, do your research, but that's my proposal. For sanctioning bodies, I think it would be good to number one, liaison with the government and talk to them the benefits of motorsport and how motorsport can advance energy security via use of alternative fuels and alternative propulsion, and also continue its role as a tool to develop manpower, human capital. Definitely, for those who have participated in motorsport and have to rely on their mechanic, without mechanics, it would be a doubly or a triply difficult pastime to pursue without being having our kuya mechanicos help us out preparing our cars before the race and also helping us fix our cars during the motorsport events. Mechanics that are renowned and have experience in motorsport tend to secure higher level jobs, higher income jobs, both here in the country and also abroad. So therefore, I would really suggest that how the AAP, I used to be part of AAP, the Automobile Association Philippines in the motorsport department. During my tenure in the AAP, our existential crisis was the pandemic and we had to write position papers in order for government to allow us to continue organizing motorsport events. And so this is again another existential threat scenario for Philippine motorsport. So I think we have to advocate the reason for existence of our industry to the powers that be. To government, I would ask to consider that motorsport is really a niche event. While banning it might be politically favorable for you, remember that motorsport participants are of a relatively higher income bracket and a higher socioeconomic class. Remember that people do not forget what has been done to them, especially in regards to the activity that they love. It does not harm people and in fact has a multitude of benefits that benefit Philippine society. I ask government to take a balanced stance and look at motorsport not as a burden to society but something that could help in its aims for the medium to long term and not only the short term geopolitical crisis. Again, motorsport should be recognized as a sector, even though it's a niche market, it also contributes a little bit, kahit papano, to the economy. And again, it trains the next generation of mechanics to help maintain the new fleet of vehicles that are coming, the new technologies of propulsion that are coming or already have arrived, and help us maintain our mobility, personal and social mobility for the years and decades to come. So do not impact motorsport. It can actually help you guys. Right. For the industry at large, especially sponsors, those who support the industry for promotional purposes, or because that you really believe that motorsport is something that has to be supported, you need to shift your message. Instead of just promoting your products, your services, you have to look at motorsport or your marketing efforts towards sustainability. You guys are already been doing that for the longest time with eco-consciousness pervading our thought processes for the years and decades past. It's not a problem to also revert back to that mindset and yet reintegrate or maintain to integrate motorsports as part of your messaging. You integrate the use of alternative fuels, you integrate new vehicle technologies, you most especially continue to advocate for road safety, you highlight the benefits of your products and services in this new paradigm, and also might as well advocate for grassroots motorsport. But that's in even in a normal scenario, I would always say that grassroots motorsport has to have special emphasis for those who have the capacity to do something about it. For the motorsport community as a whole, my message is continue the good fight. Our forefathers, in a sense, 40 years ago, 45 years ago, whatever the timeline is, in the late 70s and early 80s, were basically our lolos and our titos in motorsport, had to use alcogas. I don't even know what alcogas is. Is it methanol? Is it ethanol? I don't know. But they had to figure out how to continue motorsport with the blessing of government, especially since rallies require the use of public roads for that sport to exist. No, therefore they had to really pitch and position themselves as a test bed for innovation in the motoring and mobility space. Because if we do not think on how to rebrand ourselves, we will have a loss of legitimacy or a loss of our perception to exist or to be useful in Philippine society. The future of motorsport will not be decided by us. We have to look at it that we are part of an ecosystem. We are part of the national paradigm. We are all facing problems at the gas pump. Prices are going up. We do not know if we will have enough supply of diesel, and diesel is the economic powerhouse that transports our goods all across our great archipelago. Therefore, let us be supportive of government and yet at the same time, continue to advocate for our industry, continue to advocate for our sport, continue to practice our sport, and yet shift our consumption, shift our innovation towards more sustainable activities, more sustainable products that we could use in order to maintain and be able to continue competing in the sport that we all love. If this is content that you guys like to see, I will share again the QR code for you to help our channel directly through monetary means. With that said, this is the end of the video. I hope you learned something and you are going to be advocates for Philippine motorsport moving forward. I'll see you guys in the next video, and I hope to see you guys in person in a race near you in the Philippines. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Ciao.